Hey, don't know if you can quite hear me because it's quite windy here at the track tonight, but I had a few minutes before coaching session, so I thought I would talk to marathon training people out there, marathon runners in training, because I've had a few inquiries in the past week from people who feel like they've got to a bit of a crunch point where maybe training didn't start off quite as well as they'd hoped, or it was delayed, or we're at that point where you're kind of getting to about halfway through your training and maybe people are starting to panic. Uh, so, 8 to 12 weeks left, depending on which race you're doing. What can you do? What can you make a difference in those 8 weeks? And I'd say yes, you definitely can. And if you think about what damage you could potentially do if you got things wrong, that's more significant than maybe looking at what you could do to do it well. I don't know if I've said that right, but basically, if you're panicking, don't panic. Look at it calmly. Maybe go back through your training logs. Hopefully you've recorded somewhere, even if it's ticking off on a plan what sessions you've done and which sessions you haven't. Add up over the weeks what mileage you've been doing, and look at realistically where you are now, what sort of mileage you've been doing consistently for the past few weeks, and then where you can get to in the next, say, 6 to 8 weeks before, between now and your peak. And you want it to be peaking about 3 weeks out from your race. So realistically, where can you get to? Now, when I say what damage you could do, I mean if you tried to ramp it up to that what was going to be your peak week. Say you were going to peak at 40 miles in your peak week, and at the moment you're only on 12. Realistically, you're not safely going to get to 40 miles before. So what can you do? How can you increase your distance safely, and where will you get to? That means that you might not peak exactly where you thought you would, but it's still going to be a peak. So be sensible, be realistic, and look at what you can do in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Okay? Sometimes you might think that training's gone really badly, but when you sit down and write down all the miles that you've done, you might be surprised. It might not be as bad as you think. Okay? So that's why I like to keep a record of what miles I've done, just because sometimes your perception of what you've done and what you've really done that isn't always the same. So have a look, and if you need extra help, get in touch. But really, most important thing is keep calm, keep plodding on, get the miles in. Maybe that means you're not doing your speed work, but don't worry, it's the miles, cumulative miles that are important in marathon training. Get those miles in your legs, and maybe relax on the pace a little bit. Don't worry about that, and maybe reassess your goal. But you've got enough weeks to make a difference. Bye.